All right, so we're now at that point in the offseason where there's hardly anything to talk about, but I never really gave my thoughts on any free agency stuff, so I'm going to go through 25 contracts and grade them. Um, there's no, most of them are just major names. However, not all major contracts or major names signed to a contract will be in this video. It's mostly going to be contracts that have something noteworthy to talk about. So, like Jamie Benn, for example, signed a 1 year deal worth $1 million. I'm not going to talk about that because everyone knows it's a good deal and stuff. Like, there's not much to break down with that one. So, here we go. 25 contracts signed. I'm going to start with Nikolai Ehlers, one of the biggest names in free agency. 6 years, $8.5 million a year with the Carolina Hurricanes, and Ehlers is definitely a great top six winner, first line winger. In 2024-25, 69 games played, 24 goals, 39 assists for 63 points. In 2023-24, 82 games played, 25 goals, 36 assists for 61 points. 29 years old, so great for the Hurricanes now. But the only concern I feel like with him though is he's very injury prone. So signing a guy for 6 years, a 29-year-old, he'll be 35 when it ends. It's a little questionable in my opinion, but I'm not gonna hate on it too much. Like I said, very good first line winger for the Hurricanes. He's gonna fit right with their system. Add a lot of depth, add a lot of offense to their a lot of help to their offense. So I'm gonna go with an A on this one. Term is a little concerning to me with his injury history, but I'm not gonna hate on it too much. I think this is an overall good deal. Next, Mitch Marner and a huge sign and trade. Signed an 8 year deal worth $12 million AAV of Vegas. And the thing of Marner is, as we know, great player in the regular season, one of the best wingers in the league. 2024-25, 81 games played, 27 goals, 75 assists for 102 points. 2023-24, 69 games played, 26 goals, 59 assists for 85 points. And in 22-23, 80 games played, 30 goals, 69 assists for 99 points. So during the regular season, he's been one of the best wingers in the league for pretty much this entire decade so far. The problem, as we know, is when he gets into the playoffs. The past 3 years in the playoffs, 31 games played, 6 goals, 24 assists for 30 points, which by his standards that's a big drop off. And it's even worse when like the pressure gets higher. Like I don't have too many of like the splits, but you look at certain splits of him in playoff series, games 1 through 4 versus games 5 through 7. His numbers dramatically drop off in games 5 through 7. Like this year in the second round series against Florida, which Toronto lost, 4 points in the first 3 games, but then only 1 assist in the final 4 games. So that's where it gets hard because, like I said, one of the best winners in the game during the regular season, 28 years old, so it takes him till he's 36. Vegas likely won't be a contender at that point anyway. Like their time is now. So, the thing with his playoff concerns, though, too, is we all know he's not a very physical player. The thing is, Toronto, they've tried to get more physical, but Vegas is definitely a much more physical team, and I feel like in Vegas maybe it'll help him more to have a more physical team around him, so that it takes some of the pressure off of him as an individual. Maybe he won't have to be as physical. So I'm gonna give this. I'll give this an A minus. Definitely a risk. Like I said, very good, very elite regular season winger. Playoffs are concerning, but I think that maybe it'll help him more to be on a more physical team like Vegas and Toronto. So I'm gonna go with an A minus here. Still picking up a great player in Mitch Marner. On the other hand, Jonathan Ferris staying in Toronto, 4 years, 4.38 million AAV, and I'm not gonna break this down before giving it a grade. It's an A plus. He took a big discount to stay with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Obviously, his hometown team. Grew up as a huge fan as a kid. Obviously, we all know that the whole thing when he left the Islanders and everything. This past season, 75 games played, 74 points, so almost a point per game. Had 38 goals. 2023-24, 65 points and 29 goals in 80 games. 2022-23, 80 points in 80 games. 35 years old, so definitely getting up there in age. This will take him till he's 39, but like I said, at 4.38 million a year, that's in no time. That money's gonna that value will go down a lot as the cap increases. So great deal for Toronto. A+ for sure. Moving on, we got Evan Bouchard, 4 years, 10.5 million AAV of the Edmonton Oilers, and who's obviously one of the best offensive defensemen in the league right now. 2024-25, 82 games played, 67 points. 2023-24, 81 games played, 82 points. And 2022-23, 82 games played, 40 points, which obviously that was like his first that was like his first year, I'm pretty sure. Or like his first like full season. And he's definitely like developed since then. So I'm definitely looking more at the past 2 seasons. Been one of the best offensive defensemen in the league. So I mean, 10.5 million is a lot, especially with how much they're paying Draisaitl. They're gonna have to pay McDavid, so it's a high cap hit. But I think you gotta lock up your elite defenseman right now. He's defensively, obviously, being a defenseman, looking more at his defensive game. He has times where he makes good defensive plays, but he also has times where he makes bonehead mistakes that lead to turnovers, scoring chances against, and everything. So definitely a little concerning there, but I think you got to lock up a guy like Bouchard, who's going to give you, on average, 70 to 80 points a year. Most likely, at least. Next, we saw the Florida Panthers re-sign all 3 of their major free agents, which was a surprise. We thought for sure they were going to lose at least one of them. Re-signed Sam Bennett for 8 years, $8 million per. Aaron Ekblad for 8 years, $6.1 million per. And Brad Marchand for 6 years, $5.25 million per. Sam Bennett, obviously being the best of them out of the 3, had an amazing year this past year. I don't think he'll repeat that, but this past year, 76 games played, 25 goals, 26 assists for 51 points. 2023-24, 69 games played, 20 goals, 21 assists for 41 points. And 2022-23, 63 games played, 16 goals, 24 assists for 40 points. So the $8 million may seem a little steep given the overall past 3 years, but the cap will go up, and also he's such a key player who shows up in the playoffs. I probably should have gotten his playoff stats together before this, but I got them for some players, but I didn't think to get him for a minute. But we know he shows up big in the playoffs. I think that's what Florida's all about. They're a good regular season team, but they really break out in the playoffs. So I think at 29 years old, 8 years, takes him till he's 37. But just kind of like I said with Vegas and Mars term, Florida will not be a contender in 8 years, most likely anyway. So I think that's fine. I'm going to go with an A- here for Bennett. Then for Ekblad, this past year had 33 points in 56 games. Last year, 2023-24, 18 points in 51 games. And in 2022-23, 38 points in 71 games at 29 years old. Not been very good defensively the past few years, so he's definitely not the elite top pair defenseman he once was. But I'm gonna say I don't know how to grade this one because, like I said, I feel like the 6.1 million's a bit steep right now, but you gotta remember cap's going up. That's gonna be a huge factor. I'll go with a B here. Yeah, I'm gonna go with a B for Aaron Ekblad. Still a solid top 4 defenseman. Not the guy he once was, but I'm not. I think given the what is it? The cap increase in a couple of years, this shouldn't be too bad. And then we got Brad Marchand, 6 years, $5.25 million per. And this one's a little tougher because this past season, 51 points in 71 games. In 2023-24, 67 points in 82 games. And 2022-23, 67 points in 73 games. So overall, he's been regressing the past few years. However, in the playoffs, he was such a clutch player for the Panthers, coming up with multiple really big goals in the finals, especially. Like, I thought he could have competed for Bennett for the Conn Smythe. The real concern, though, is that he's 37 years old and for 6 years. I know I said the Panthers aren't going to be a contender in like several years anyway, but for the next few years, they should still be very competitive. So if Marchand starts to regress further, like if this playoffs was kind of a bounce back fluke and he starts to regress further, then this might not age well for them. But I'll go. Yeah, he's just not the like two-way beast that he was a couple years ago. I'm just not sure how I think this contract's going to age for the Panthers in a few years. The way he played in the playoffs, totally worth this money. Worth more. Like he probably was worth like $8 million the way he played in the playoffs. But actually, you know what? I almost forgot for a second. It's only like $5.25 million. I think it's fine. Yeah, I think once again, big thing with the cap going up. I think $5.25 million for Marchand is fine. I'll go with a B on this one too. Yep, B for Marchand. 6 years, $5.25 million per. Moving on, Noah Dobson got traded to the Montreal Canadiens and signed a 8-year deal with them worth $9.5 million AAV. And this past year, 2024-25, obviously had a rough year. Or not terrible, but like had a down year by his standards, especially compared to the previous year, which I'll get to. This past year, 71 games played, 10 goals, 29 assists for 39 points, which was concerning. However, in the previous year, 2023-24, 79 games played, 10 goals, 60 assists for 70 points. So it's a matter of, do we think he's closer to the player he was in 2024 or 2025? And I mean, he's only 25 years old, so this shouldn't be like a sign of regression. I think he did have a down year. Will be closer to the player he was in 2024. So yeah, Montreal just got a very good, like, elite top pair defenseman in Noah Dobson. He's decent on defense as well. I think especially with Montreal's core coming up, he's going to get to play with Lane Hudson. They've got an elite offense too. I think I'm gonna go with I'll go with an A on this one. Great elite defenseman for Noah Dobson. A little bit of concern as to if he'll be able, as to what we can expect from him moving forward. But I am one of the believers that he's closer to the player he was in 2024 than in 2025. Moving on, Vladislav Gavrikov, and one of the top defensemen free agents to walk from his team. Obviously, leaving the LA Kings, signed with the New York Rangers, 7 years, $7 million per. And in 2024-25, 30 points, 82 games. 2023-24, 23 points, 77 games. And 2022-23, 19 points, 72 games. But he's one of those defensemen that's really not much about the offense. 30 points for a defenseman is not too bad, but looking at his defensive numbers, he is in one of the higher percentiles defensively for the past couple of years at 29 years old. So this contract takes him till he's 36. I'm gonna give it an A+ for Rangers because, or no, A. I can't say A+, but I'm gonna go with an A because I think, given the Rangers' circumstances, you're bringing in a very good defensive defenseman in Vladislav Gavrikov, and you have to think about the Rangers. They're trying to be in win now mode. I'm not sure how much they're going to be able to fix their team. They look like they've just completely fallen apart. I think they will be better than last year. Last year was just disastrous for them, but it's just a matter of they can't really rebuild some of the contracts they have, and they're not going to be good in 7 years anyway. So they might as well try and go all in now, see what they can do to rebuild, retool the team a bit. And defense was an area of concern, so they bring in Gavrikov, very good defensive defenseman. I'm gonna go with an A. Moving on, we have the former Ranger defenseman Keandre Miller. This in 2024-25 had 27 points in 74 games. 2023-24, 30 points in 80 games. 2022-23, 43 points in 79 games. So decent offensive producing defenseman, and then it's around the 70th percentile, the 70th percentile defensively. So 25 years old. So that takes him only until he's 30. This contract still takes him to only until he's 33. So it's just so like not it doesn't take him until he's like really old either. The only concern I think there is that okay, he's been good the past couple of years, but how much has that has had to do with Adam playing with Adam Fox because obviously we know is one of the best defensemen in the league because I'm not I'm pretty sure I've seen some splits somewhere. I'm not sure exactly which ones they are, but there's splits that have shown that him when he played with Fox versus when he played without Fox, his numbers went down quite a bit. So, or his numbers went down quite a bit without Fox than when he played with Fox. So, how much how much of him not playing with Fox, or how good is he on his own basically when when he wasn't with Fox? However, in Carolina, they've got a really elite defensive core. They've got Jacob Slavin, what? Oh my gosh, why am I blanking on his name right now? Alex Nikishin. Yeah, upcoming is gonna be really good. So I think going to a elite defensive core like Carolina should be pretty good for Miller. 7.5 million, I'd say, seems pretty fair given all this. A solid top four defenseman might play first pair, and I think given a good defensive core around him, he'll do pretty well. So I'm gonna give this one an A. I think it's gonna work out. Knowing Carolina too, the way they've got defensemen come to them and do really well, I think it's gonna work out pretty well for them. Next, we have Jonathan Toews returning to the NHL. Hasn't played since 2023, and on a 1-year deal worth $2 million with the Winnipeg Jets. In 2022-23, 53 games played, 15 goals, 16 assists for 31 points. 2021-22, 71 games played, 12 goals, 25 assists for 37 points. 37 years old now. The problem here is not the money itself seems fine. But the issue because at first it looks like just $2 million. The issue though is that there's up to $5 million in signing bonuses, and none of them are based on how many like his actual performance. It's based on how many games he plays. Like it goes up. I believe like 500,000 from if he plays 20 games, then another 500,000 if he plays 30 games. I'm pretty sure maybe it's 250,000. Once again, stuff I should have checked before I made the start of the video, but you get the point. I'm sure most of you guys have seen this already or know already that there's some big sign bonuses, and the issue here is that it's not based on his performance, just how many games he plays. So he could play the entire season, and there's also these bonuses also involve how much he plays if the Jets go to the playoffs and how deep they go and if he plays that much. But let's just say the Jets win the Stanley Cup next year, and he plays the entire season, but just as a fourth line center. It won't matter that he was just a fourth line center. He would still be making $7 million because it's based on just how much he plays and not how he actually does. So, given that, I'm gonna go the C- because I'm also unsure of what to expect from him, given that he's 37 years old, hasn't played in 2 years or over 2 years now. Because yeah, I mean, do I think the Jets are going to win the Cup next year? Probably not. I wouldn't have them going deep into the playoffs, but still, that's still going to be just if he plays the entire regular season as a fourth liner, that's still going to be a couple $1 million. So they'll be paying like $4 to $5 million most likely for a player that was a fourth liner all year. So yeah, just huge risk with this deal in my opinion for the Jets. And I also wanted to point out, I'm not sure how I feel about this for Toews either. Like, obviously, it's going to be great to see him come back, and I hope that he does stay in the NHL. My only thing is, if he does come back and decide that it's just time to stop, now he's given up the chance to play his entire career with one team. It kind of reminds me of like Martin Brodeur, where the Devils were moved on from him, but he still wanted to play, so he goes to the Blues and plays 7 games with them. He literally could have. Now everyone looks at his career like, oh, he could have retired or he could have just played his entire career with one team. A more recent example, Mikko Koivu a couple years ago, played his entire career with the Wild. They decided not to keep him, so he goes to the Blue Jackets, plays like less than 10 games, I'm pretty sure, and then retires. He could have played his entire career with the Wild. So I know Toews, Winnipeg's his hometown team and everything, which is cool to see, but I think if he doesn't stay in the NHL, or if he doesn't keep playing, decides after a little while into the season that it's just time to stop, then I think 10 years from now, people will look back more that, oh, he could have retired, he could have played his entire career as a Blackhawk, than the fact that, oh, he got to go play for his hometown team for a year. So I think there's just huge risks for both sides here. I'm not too sure how I feel about it, which, once again, I hope Taves is a very respectable guy. I hope he comes back, proves us wrong, proves all doubters, which I consider myself one, proves all doubters wrong, does well the Jets and everything. I mean, he's not going to be like elite again, but can at least be a solid player. But I'm hoping for the best for him, but I'm just not sure how likely that is. So we'll see. But I do have my concerns on this one. Next, JJ Peterka got traded to Utah Mammoth and signed a 5-year deal worth $7.7 million a year, which he's been good for a good offensive player for the Sabres. In 2023-24, I'm going to start previous year first to show the improvement. 82 games played, 28 goals, 22 assists for 50 points. Then 2024-25, 77 games played, 27 goals, 41 assists for 68 points. So that's a 18-point increase, and he's only 23 years old, so he should keep getting better and better. I think this is a great deal for Utah. I mean, is there a chance he doesn't keep getting better? Yes, but we've seen that more times than not when a player is young like this, is showing a lot of progression and gets locked up for a decent amount of time, then it usually does end up being a steal. He usually does end up getting better and better. So I'm going to give Utah an A+ on this one. His defensive game is not very good, but he is still young. He can work on that and everything. I think this is great for Utah. Their future is amazing, and Peterka should be a great top 6 winger for the next several years for Utah. So yeah, A+ for this one. Next, Trent Frederick signed an extension with the Edmonton Oilers, 8 years, $3.85 million per, and in 2024-25, 58 games played, 8 goals, 7 assists for 15 points. 2023-24, 82 games played, 18 goals, 22 assists for 40 points. And 2022-23, 79 games played, 17 goals, 14 assists for 31 points. 27 years old, so I mean, it's not a whole lot of money, but you just don't really see I mean, he might get into the top 6, but he also might remain a bottom 6 forward. I mean, we don't really know how legit last year was in 2024 when he had almost half a point per game. So I'm gonna give this one a C-. I just don't feel right about it. Just giving a guy like Frederick 8 years, which I don't think he's proven that he's worthy of an 8-year contract. I think if you gave him this much money for like 4 years, it would be great, but 8 years just, Moving on, Matthew Nyes signed a 6-year extension with the Toronto Maple Leafs, $7.75 million per, and in 2023-24, which he debuted at the end of the 2022-23 season, so hardly played there. In 2023-24, his rookie year, 80 games played, 15 goals, 20 assists for 35 points, and then in 2024-25, 78 games played, 29 goals, 29 assists for 58 points. So huge increase for over 20-point increase. Once again, 23 years old. Has been decent defensively. Also, we talk about the Maple Leafs not getting far in the playoffs. One of the issues being that they don't have enough grit. Nyes had showed some of that. Like, he was hitting people, blocking shots in the playoffs. Like, that's what the Leafs have lacked, is that grit. And if Nyes is going to bring it for them, then great. Then this is great for them. Also, looks like he's going to turn into a great player too. I'm going to go A+ on this. Once again, like Peterka, locking up your young player for a long-term deal does work way more times than not. So, and if he brings the stuff that the Leafs have been lacking in the playoffs, then yeah, I think A+ is definitely right for this one. Next, we have Ivan Provorov, 7 years, $8.5 million per with the Columbus Blue Jackets. Look at him in 2022-23, 82 games played, 27 points. 2023-24, 82 games played, 32 points, and in 2024-25, 82 games played, 33 points. So he's shown that he's able to play, like stay healthy and stuff throughout the season the past few years. But $8.5 million. He mean his defense. I mean his offensive point totals for defensemen are okay, but then he's also not very good defensively either. 28 years old. That takes him until he's 35. I'm gonna go with a D plus. I mean, it could. I mean, he's not a bad defenseman, but I just don't like that term nor that money for a 28-year-old that's been like a good, once again, good defenseman, but I don't see the logic for the term, and I think the money's also too much. So yeah, I'm going D plus for Provorov here. Next, we got the Vancouver Canucks. We thought they were going to let go of a lot of players, but they re-signed three of their major free agents. Brock Besser, a huge one. We thought for sure he was gone from Vancouver. Re-signed him 7 years, $7.25 million per. Then they also re-signed Connor Garland, 6 years, $6 million per. And Thatcher Demko, 3 years, $8.5 million per. Besser in 2024-25 had 75 games played, 25 goals, 25 assists for 50 points. 2023-24 had a great year, 81 games played, 40 goals, 33 assists for 73 points. And in 2022-23, 74 games played, 18 goals, 37 assists for 55 points. So great first line, top six winger and everything. 28 years old. So here's, I'll get to the term in a minute. Once I go through the others as well, because I'm going to talk about all three of these collectively, kind of. Connor Garland, 6 years, $6 million per. In 2024-25, 81 games played, 19 goals, 31 assists for 50 points. 2023-24, 82 games played, 20 goals, 27 assists for 47 points. And 2022-23, 81 games played, 17 goals, 29 assists for 46 points. So another guy that's a good middle six winger. Middle six winger. Has very good defensive numbers too. And then Thatcher Demko, 3 years, $8.5 million per. And he's proven that when he has some help defensively and when he can stay healthy, he's a very good goalie. But those are two big conditions here, because this past year, a .889 save percentage and a 2.90 goals against average, which the Canucks were a hot mess. In 2023-24, a .918 save percentage and a 2.45 goals against average. Canucks were a playoff team. But then 2022-23, Canucks weren't very good either. A .901 save percentage and 3.16 goals against average. So I think he really is a great goalie. The problem is that his team cannot be consistent. He can't stay healthy. And there was a report last year that came out that his knee problem is not something that can be fixed, and he's just going to have to try to learn to play through it. That's not good news for a guy who's, for a long term, especially for a goalie who's 29 years old. And goalies, it can get dicey after 30. Like, some are able to stay good for much longer. Some fall off as soon as they hit 30. Some fall off before they hit 30. So, for a guy who's got these injury concerns, I mean, 3 years, but I worry about Demko moving forward in the future. And then, like I said, I was going to mention a term for all these players at the end of talking about them, because Canucks re-signed all three of these guys. Good players, but the Canucks just seem so directionless right now. I mean, it seems like there's an issue in the locker room or in the culture of the team, and I was thinking they definitely need to kind of blow it up and stuff, rebuild, or maybe at least retool, because like they've been bad for so many years. Last year looks like they finally have hope. Had a good year and everything, fall apart this past year. So I'm not sure while these guys are good players, I'm not sure how I feel about bringing them all back when you should be trying to change the culture of this team. And the Canucks come to me as a team that's about to be really stuck. I don't think they're going to be bad enough to get a really good draft pick, but I don't think they're going to be good enough to consistently be a playoff team. It seems like every year when they have a really good year, or every time they really have a really good year, have hope and everything. I mean, they've not been consistently good since like the late 2000s, early 2010s, when they made the Stanley Cup final in 2011. and everything. So yeah, Canucks, especially with when you bring back Batcher for 7 years, a 28-year-old, bring back a 29-year-old Garland for 6 years. I don't really love that for Vancouver. So Besser, given the fit for the team, I think it's a good contract for what he's worth. But given the fit for the team, I'm gonna give it a C minus here. Garland, I'm gonna go. Um, Garland, I'll go C. Demko, I'll go a B minus. I think when he's or no, I'll go a B. When he's healthy, he is worth this. If he's got because if he has some help, like I said, I think he's a very good goalie. But that's a huge if. But I can't really give a lower grade to like someone who is a good goalie. Which I know I said Vancouver should be trying to change the culture up, but a good goalie is hard to find and stuff. So I'm gonna say this one was a little more justified. It's also not as much, not as long term as the other two, but yeah, I don't like the idea of bringing back Besser and Garland for 7 and 6 years when this team needs a culture change and they're very directionless right now. Moving on, we've got Logan Stankoven signed 8-year extension with the Carolina Hurricanes, $6 million per, and and we're gonna look. He's just played 2 years in the NHL. And just 22 years old. 2023-24, 24 games played, 6 goals, 8 assists for 14 points. But we could just tell seeing this kid that the future was bright for him and everything. And then this past year gets traded in the Mikko Rantanen deal. Had a total of 78 games played, 14 goals, 24 assists for 38 points. And with Dallas, he had 59 games played this year, or last year I should say. 9 goals, 20 assists for 29 points. And then once he got traded to Carolina, 19 games played, 5 goals, 4 assists for 9 points. So, I mean, I think there's no doubt at this point this kid's going to be very good. Maybe not like probably not a superstar, but he should definitely be a good top six winger for the Hurricanes. Yeah, I'm gonna go A plus. Like I said, locking up your players long term, $6 million per, which will be great for a second liner in a few. I mean, it's what a second liner is worth right now, in my opinion. And in a few years, I think it's gonna be great. So 8 years, I think this is definitely an A plus contract for the Hurricanes. Next, we got William Eklund signed a 3-year deal worth $5.6 million per with the San Jose Sharks. Only played 8 games in 2022-23, 2023-24, 80 games played, 16 goals, 29 assists for 45 points. Then 2024-25, 77 games played, 17 goals, 41 assists for 58 points. So we'll be 23 at the start of the season. So I think we know this guy is going to be very good for the Sharks, which that's a concern. That's the only concern is the term, because I've been saying I like when teams lock up their players for their young talent for long term. It usually works out, and only signing him for 3 years. I mean, I get maybe they couldn't come to an agreement, but I'd say it's better to overpay here, because chances are it's going to work out for you than if you just give him 3 years now. He likely will break out more and more over the next 3 years, and then now in 3 years he'll be 26. He'll be 26 in his prime and everything, and you're gonna have to probably pay him a lot more than you might have if you just overpay a little bit now. So, given that, I'm gonna go with C plus. I mean, they re-signed a good player, but I definitely think they should have locked him up for longer, give him 8 years. But yeah, he'll be great for. I think it's gonna be great for the next 3 years, but he's gonna want a lot of money in a few years if he continues to progress. So watch out, San Jose. Let me see, how many more do I have here? Oh, 5 more here. Next we got Tanner Jeannot, 5 years, $3.4 million per with Boston, and obviously one of the most infamous trades of the decade so far. In 2021-22 starts off with Nashville, 81 games played, 24 goals, 17 assists for 41 points, finished 7th in Calder voting, so we think, okay, this guy might be a future star and everything. However, proved not to be true and not to continue it in 2022-23, 76 games played, 6 goals, 12 assists for just 18 points, and then get straight to Lightning. They give up a huge haul for him. I don't remember everything it was, but it's gone now. It didn't work out for them. Excuse me. It did not work out for them very well at all. One of the most infamous and bad trades of the decade so far. One of Julian Breezeball's worst trades by far and everything. Then 2023-24, first full season with the Lightning. 55 games played, 7 goals, 7 assists for 14 points, and 2024-25. 67 games played, 7 goals, 6 assists for 13 points. So, yeah, I don't like I mean, yeah, I think 3.4 million might be a little much for Jeannot. Honestly, like, he probably is worth less than 3 million in my opinion. And then 5 years, he's 28 years old. It could take him until he's 33. I mean, he might. I'm not sure how much I want to say he's going to get bought out because it's not like a ridiculous amount of money, but this just is not a good contract to me. I'm going to go with a D. I think, yeah, I don't like this very much at all for the Boston Bruins. They seem very directionless right now. The future's not looking great for them. I don't think they're gonna. I think guys like Swayman and will bounce back next year. Lindholm should have a better year and everything, but McAvoy and Hampus Lindholm were injured for a lot of the season. But I just don't see this team being an elite contender for several years ahead, and I don't think they'll be able to rebuild either. They just seem like they're going to be one of those teams stuck in no man's land for the next several years, and signing Jeannot to a 5-year deal does not help at all. Yeah. Then we got, in my opinion, even worse contract. Ryan Lindgren, 4 years, $4.5 million per the Seattle Kraken. 2022-23, 63 games played, 18 points. 2023-24, 76 games played, 17 points. 2024-25, 72 games played, 22 points. Which, I mean, he was never really about the offense, but defensively, he was a good defensive partner for Adam Fox and everything. The problem is once he was separated from Adam Fox, his numbers went way down, showing that he was just Adam Fox just made him look good and everything. Very bad defensively. The J Fresh chart showed that he had it looked like a 15% defensively. This as of right now. So excuse me. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the contract at all. 27 years old. He'll be 31 when it ends. And to me, this is number one contract from free agency that screams buyout to me. I just don't see Lindgren even finishing his contract out. Seattle too. They're so mid right now. I just mentioned that for the past 3 teams. Yeah, Seattle just seems very mid right now. Seems like they're going to be mid for the next couple of years or several years. Sign Lindgren to a huge overpay, $4.5 million for a guy who only really looked good because of Adam Fox, as we know now. I'm gonna go D-. I feel like you can't really say F until after we see how it works out. But yeah, this, in my opinion, is the worst contract of free agent. Or actually, it might be a second worst contract of free agency because of who we have next. You guys probably already know who it is, staying in the Pacific Division. We got Cody Ceci, 4 years, $4.5 million per the LA Kings, and just looking at his point totals real quick, not that really matters, as we all know. 2024-25, 85 games played, 24 points. 2023-24, 79 games played, 25 points. And 2022-23, 80 games played, 15 points. 31 years old, one of the worst defensive defensemen in the league. He leads to more scoring opportunities against than he actually prevents in the defensive zone. Yeah, just absolutely terrible. And it's like the crazy thing is he didn't do well in Edmonton when they signed him. He was a huge liability defensively. Ken Holland was the general manager. It's like, and now Ken Holland's the general manager of the LA Kings, and he signs Ceci again to his new team now. Like, did he not learn anything? We also saw him in Dallas during the playoffs. Was not good at all. Just it's just puzzling that Holland did this again when he saw how it worked last time. It's like he just didn't learn at all. But yeah, I'm gonna go D- for Ceci as well. Just like I said, him and Lindgren are, in my opinion, competing for the worst contracts handed out in free agency. I don't think there's much more to say. We all know how bad CC has been the past couple of years. I can't understand this at all. Moving on, we have Brian Dumoulin, 3 years, 3 years, $4 million per of the LA Kings. 2024-25, 22 points in 80 games. 2023-24. I keep changing my mind whether I should go backwards or forwards on this one. But yeah, when I read the point totals, but 2023-24, 16 games, 80 games played, 16 points. 2022-23, 25 points in 82 games. Will be 34 years old at the start of the season, and I mean his defensive numbers are still decent, but I don't like the fact that the LA Kings are replacing Gavrikov with Cody Ceci and Brian Dumoulin. Also, Drew Doughty is getting older in LA too. Their defensive core has been their strength the past couple of years, but it's looking a little concerning right now. I'm going to give this one $4 million per. Actually, for 34-year-old, I'm going to give this one a C. But yeah, I have no idea what Holland's doing right now. And then finally, ending off the video, we've got Dmitry Orlov, former Capital, obviously. 2 years, $6 million per with San Jose. In 2022-23, obviously, was the year he got traded from Washington to Boston. And in Washington that year, he had 43 games played, 3 goals, 16 assists for 19 points. Then we went to Boston. We all know he exploded once he got traded to Boston. Sorry. I need to slow down and talk, but I'm kind of pressed for time to finish this video up, so I apologize for that. Went to Boston that year, 23 games played, 4 goals, 13 assists for 17 points. So was great when he went to Boston, but the problem was I feel like he became kind of overrated when he during his time in Boston. Like, we all knew he probably was not going to sustain that, and that he was going to come back down to earth. Goes to Carolina that in the summer of 2023 for 2 years, and in 2023-24, 82 games played, 6 goals, 20 assists for 26 points, and in 2024-25, 76 games played, 6 goals, 22 assists for 28 points. But then his defensive play has regressed mightily the past couple of years. I mean, he's 34 years old. He'll be 34 years old at the start of the season. And yeah, we saw in the games for Carolina this year in the playoffs, he did not look good at all defensively. And the Florida series, particularly in the Eastern Conference Final, I forget which game it was, but we remember, anyone who watched that series remembers that game where he was at fault for like 4 of the Panthers' goals. I'm pretty sure, whether it was that they got past him defensively or he allowed a turnover, whatever. Like, yeah, I mean, and it's painful to talk about Orlov like this. He's one of my favorite Caps I've ever watched and everything, but looking at this objectively, it's not been good. I think we have to look at the context of the situation because, like I said, sometimes a team is, you have to look at where the team is. Whether if they're in win now mode, you don't really think about how long. If a team's in win now mode, they sign a guy for 8 years. You don't really think about how they'll be at the end of that contract or how the guy will be at the end of the contract, because they're not going to be good anyway. And for Orlov and the Sharks, I think it's kind of the opposite. This contract is objectively bad. $6 million for Orlov is objectively bad. I think I don't think there's a debate with that at all. But you have to think about this though. the Sharks are in rebuild right now. They'll probably be in rebuild for the next several years, or not, maybe not several, but like three to 4 years until they start looking like a team that can make the playoffs again, probably. And for a rebuilding team like the Sharks, they're just trying to hit the cap floor again. So, given that, I don't think it's so bad because, like I said, I'm not trying to deny that this contract is objectively bad. However, you have to factor in that, like I said, they're trying to hit the cap floor. They're rebuilding right now. Also, now that he's could be 34, he could be a mentor for some of the young players that they're bringing in, and everything. That's always helpful. So I'm gonna give it a B minus. Honestly, like I said, objectively a bad objectively not a good contract. However, I think given the Shark situation, everything, what they're looking for as far as trying to find a player that can help them hit the cap floor, he can be a mentor and everything. Don't think it's half bad at all. So yeah, I'm gonna say B minus for Orlov. I'm sure people will come at me for that, but I think given the Shark situation, it's not too bad. But yeah, that wraps up my review of these 25 contracts from free agency. I'm gonna grade like 60 of them on my Instagram, so please check out that. Yeah, I apologize for a few things. This is like almost 3 weeks after free agency. It's just been a little crazy and everything. So haven't gone around because that's things like, before, those of you who've been following me on TikTok and Instagram, I'd be a lot better at getting the stuff out on time and everything. But that's because it takes a lot longer to plan and film a YouTube video than it does to do a TikTok or Instagram post. So it's been because I could have done the TikTok or Instagram post a couple weeks ago, but I wanted to do a YouTube video to go with it, like I'm doing here. So that's why it's pretty late. Just trying to find time to do this YouTube video. But yeah, I'm going to have be grading 60 contracts on my Instagram. 60 contracts on my Instagram. Please follow me if you don't already. It's JJLee_hockey, the same as my YouTube here. I also want to apologize for just talking so fast. I'm still kind of pressed for time to do this video, and plus I'm also trying to get used to. It's like I've been making content the past few years, but TikTok, you record short clips, everything. Like you don't like talk all the way through like you do in YouTube, really. So still getting used to talking for this long on camera and everything. So I apologize for that. I'm hoping to get better and everything, but yeah, thanks for if you stuck around till the end. Thanks for watching. I'm hoping to do. I'm not sure how much more content on here on YouTube as far as like these long videos will happen now. But as you guys know, I do my radio show when I'm in college, and I go back to college like a month and a half now. So probably in like 2 more months will be when I'm back on the radio show. Stay tuned for that. And yeah, thank you for watching. If you stayed till the end.